So thanks for joining us. I know for some of you it was kind of a last minute thing. I decided to do a webinar and go over some stuff about getting unlimited amounts of clients and leads from using meetup.com. So I'm going to jump right into it. And if you know me, you know I'm always preaching about meetup.com. How many of you are already signed up for meetup.com? I see a few of you. Kathy said yes. I see a lot of yeses. I see a couple no's. Okay, so yeah, tonight should be a lot of good stuff on what I do to find clients from Meetup. So let's just get started right now. So my name is David James Ostiguy, and I've been doing SEO consulting for over 2 years for customers. And in December 2010, I lost my 9-to-5 job, but I decided what I wanted to do is take my SEO consulting business to a full-time level. So what I did is I started to meet clients on meetup.com, and where I actually got my first client was Meetup. And it was funny because I was talking to this guy. He was running, he still runs a auto modification website, and he told me, he said, you know, I'm really looking for an SEO person, and you know, I don't really know anybody. Do you know anyone? And I said, yeah, I do SEO, and I never really had any experience except for doing SEO for my own websites. So he told me, okay, let's meet up and you know, come up with a proposal and stuff like that. And I actually had no plan or like no anything set up where I would do SEO for customers. So that night I came up with a really quick blueprint and showed him and came up with a proposal, and he cut me a check right there on the spot, and it was as easy as that. After a while, I met an SEO guy who had over 12 years of experience, and we began working together in March of last year. And fast forward now, we now have over 40 clients. We never advertise, and it was one of those things, how did our business go just from a couple clients to 24 clients in 7 months? Because it just started scaling and scaling, and it was getting bigger and bigger. And the way we did it was from meetup.com. It was as simple as that. We have we've attended several meetups. I have my own meetup group, and my SEO partner, he has his own meetup group in San Diego, which we're based here in the Los Angeles area, but once a month he drives out to San Diego. And the reason why he has one in San Diego is because all the big name techie people are in the San Diego area, and he has a really good meetup over there. And we've got a majority of our customers from the San Diego meetup that he put together. So really, really smart. So just because you're in a specific area doesn't necessarily mean that you have to stay in that area. So if you're, for example, we're here in Los Angeles, Justin has it in San Diego, which San Diego is probably about a good, I would say maybe 150, 200 miles away. But it's good because all the techie people are there. So what we're going to cover tonight is how to sign up for meetup.com, how to find meetup meetings to attend, how to set up your own meetup, how to find a location for your meetup. That's an important one that a lot of people have problems with. What sort of meetups should you create, and how to find meetups to speak at. So I know a lot of you are afraid of speaking and stuff, going to meetups and speak, but don't worry, I'm going to cover a lot of good stuff to point you in the right direction. And how to attract clients that will be breaking down your door to get your services, and how to attract clients without ever having to physically be at a meetup. So that one's really good too. So if you're out in the middle of nowhere and you don't have a car or whatever, you don't have access to go to any of these meetups, I have a really good solution for you on how to attract clients without ever physically having to be at a meetup. Excuse me. So signing up for a meetup is super simple. Here's a map that I found, what I thought was really interesting, showing where a lot of the meetups are. And you know, there's all of these that are kind of like overlapping each other, so I don't necessarily know. But I do know that there are more than 70 meetups in the Southern California area. Because, I mean, think about any subject that you're interested in, and chances are there's a meetup somewhere about that subject, okay? So out here there's a lot of law of attraction types of meetups. There's meditation meetups, there's SEO meetups, there's social media meetups, you name it, they have it. I think there's an underwater basket weaving meetup somewhere. I'm not really sure, but somebody was actually telling me that meetup.com started out as a singles website, where if you're single and you're looking to meet people, they would have meetups. And it started from there, and it started to expand. And if you're not already signed up for Meetup, it's free to join. So go ahead and sign up and begin finding a meeting for whatever subject you're interested in. And as a matter of fact, how I found Meetup was my wife and I, some years ago, we were looking for classes, or we were actually looking for some sort of group to practice our French, because we were taking French lessons, and you know, we wanted to practice and get a lot more comfortable with it. So we found a meetup group that we started going to, and we found people that spoke French as horrible as us, and we were able to help each other. So it was really, really good. So with meetup.com, this is what the front page looks like, and it already shows you like the trending meetups near the area, and whether or not you're interested in a free boot camp, or you're interested in the art of outdoor headshots. I mean, there's so many subjects to cover, and this is a great place if you're focusing on a specific niche, like if you're doing SEO for photographers or something like that. You could actually go to Meetup, and you could find meetup groups about photographers, and you could offer your SEO services. So that's one route that you could take. There's a whole bunch of ways you could go about this, and I should have got a better screenshot instead of, do you want your do you want Internet Explorer to remember your password for Meetup? Anyway, so begin attending meetups. What you do is you get a feel for what meetups are good and which ones to avoid, right? If you belong to Meetup, you've been to meetup groups, and some of them are turds. You know what I mean? There's nothing really you could do about it. You go once, and you get a feel for it, and if it's really that bad, you just don't go again. What I usually do is the meetups that I avoid are the ones that I've been to at least 3 times and have never closed a lead before. So, I mean, of course, if the meetup is really, really bad, of course, I'm not going to go back. But if there's ones that are really interesting and they have some good topics and things like that, I mean, I'll keep attending. But after a while, after the 3rd meetup, if I haven't really closed a lead or come close to closing any lead, then I move on. And for an example, it doesn't mean that the meetup is bad. It just means that the people that are attending that meetup don't really have a need for your services. And that's fine, whether you offer SEO, social media, or whatever. A lot of these people that go to these meetups, a lot of them, they're just learning internet marketing. You know, they could barely turn on a computer. They don't know what SEO is. They don't even know how to build a website. They're just kind of getting a feel for if they were to start up a business. But then again, you do find people that have, that really know their stuff too. So, and a lot of people talk about going to a meetup and It's too competitive. There's way too many people offering their services and stuff. And for example, some of the meetups I go to, there's other SEO consultants there. And it's not really a big deal because, as a matter of fact, it was actually about a month ago, I went to a meetup with 3 other SEO consultants that were there. And it wasn't one of those things where, I just took off. When this happens, I just continue to network, and I actually introduced myself to the other SEO consultants too, because it's really funny. Because I've received SEO clients from other SEO consultants before. And how does it work out is, simply put, most of the time that SEO consultants are putting into SEO, they're doing it for their own clients. And they don't have the time to work on their own SEO projects, right? That makes sense, right? And I've actually been hired by 2 SEO consultants before. So if you see other SEO consultants and you're involved in SEO, don't count them out. Walk up to them, say hi, tell them what you're doing. Exchange SEO ideas, or whatever niche you're involved in. If it's social media or whatever, don't be afraid to just let them know like what you're doing and how you get your results and things like that. Because chances are, if they have projects on the side, which the majority of SEO consultants do, they're looking for an SEO person that they could trust, and they'll hire you. So if you stick to my system of doing the 3 meetups, and if you don't get a lead that way, then continue on. Just move on. If you get no business out of the meetup after 3 times, simply move on. And for an example, there's a meetup in Beverly Hills that gets about over 100 people attending every month. It's a really big meetup, and there's some really great people there. But the thing is, I go there, I went there a few times, and I didn't close 1 lead. Well, actually, I did close a lead, but he wound up being a pain in the butt, which I'm going to cover later on. Okay, so but after a while, even though I liked the meetup, I realized that it was a waste of my time, and so because of that, I quit going. So consider this: when you're offering services to clients, don't lowball your services, okay? Because the thing is, cheaper clients always equals more headaches. When you're offering your services to clients, don't lowball your services. Cheaper clients always equals more headaches. Does everybody agree with that? I actually had one client that pays me over $3,000 a month that I heard from once a month, and I have to meet with them every 3 months or so. And this person I met at the Beverly Hills meetup, when I first started doing SEO, I got a client from there. And I told him I would do SEO for $250 a month, which was completely lowballing my stuff. And so guess who was the biggest pain in the butt? Of course. Yeah, $250 a month, and it was like the first. He sent the money, and then it was like a day later, he called me just angry that he hasn't seen results, which I explained to him several times that, this takes months. SEO is not something where you're going to see overnight success. So he called me and emailed me twice a week. He constantly complained about my SEO services and how he wasn't getting results. And like I said, I told him, just hang tight. This is, you're going to start seeing results within months, okay? But it didn't matter to him, no matter what I said. After 2 weeks of him driving me crazy, I couldn't take it anymore. I gave him his money back, and I told him to bugger off. In a polite way, of course. And then he sent this nasty email on how I don't understand him and so on and so forth, and it turned into this huge headache. It was awful. So never lowball your services. And even if you're just starting out, never lowball your services, because you're going to get pain in the necks. And it's so funny because I don't understand the whole theory behind it, but when people are paying you a higher amount of money, they seem to leave you alone. Okay, of course you have to do the work, you have to get results, and you have to talk to them periodically. But the one client that was paying me over $3,000, I only heard from once a month, and I was getting him good results too. So, of course, make sure that you're offering a great service if you're gonna set your price standard a bit high, right? And another thing you want to do is you want to get a feel on how meetups work. So go to different meetups to see what works and what doesn't work. And the thing is, you'll see that some meetups have a ton of success, and you'll see other meetups that are just completely just a flop and just no good. And it's one of those things that maybe the meetup will get better over time or whatever. So, just kind of feel it out and use your best judgment. And get ideas on what you would do the same or different when creating your own meetup. So if you see a meetup that has a lot of success and they get people excited because they introduce people one by one and they give a brief description on what they do and stuff, and you see people getting fired up about that, that's a good sign that maybe you should do that in your own meetup, right? Simple, right? And before attending meetups, I always make sure that I have my elevator pitch down. Does everybody know what an elevator pitch is? I see a few yeses. It looks like everyone's saying yes, so that's good. Yeah, elevator pitch is simply, here's an example. I always go, I'm an SEO consultant, and what SEO stands for is search engine optimization, which is a fancy way of saying that I get traffic to people's websites and make sure that my clients make money from that traffic. And how SEO works is we make sure our clients' websites are more visible in the search engines, such as Google, Bing, Yahoo, and places like that. So by doing this, our client's website gets free traffic from the search engines instead of having to pay for ads on Google. How long did that take? What was that, about 10-15 seconds? So, and I know it's one of those things, sometimes you're kind of, they ask you, so what do you do? And all of a sudden it's like, well, I do a bit of this, and, that's why you want to have your elevator pitch down, okay? Because you want to come off like a professional. You don't want to come off like you're just starting out, even if you are starting out. And then after you give the elevator pitch, go ahead and turn around and ask them, so tell me about your business. Does your business have a website? And start asking questions. So practice your elevator pitch. Stand in front of a mirror and practice. So my homework assignment, one of my homework assignments for you tonight is to grab a piece of paper and a pen and write down your elevator pitch. Okay? It doesn't have to be perfect. Just write something down that if somebody was to ask you about your elevator pitch or ask you what you do, you could turn around and you could give them your elevator pitch. Okay? It's simple. And stand in front of a mirror and practice if you have to, or write down your pitch. Practice it to your friends, your roommates, your wife, whoever will listen to you. If you live by yourself and you have a cat, practice your elevator pitch to your cat. Okay? So just practice it. Practice it until you get used to it. And this is a really big one. A lot of people say, I'm not good at talking to people. And I know a lot of people are looking for some sort of automated system to get leads. Last week I did a webinar on LinkedIn and stuff like that. But it's one of those things, I mean, you have to talk to people. If you're involved in business, you have to talk to people. And when I first started, I mean, I was horrible. I stuttered, my voice shook, I said a lot, I messed up what I was trying to say, and I still mess up. You know, I'm doing this webinar, I've had some mistakes already, but that's okay. I'm getting my point across, and all of you are listening, right? So it's one of those things, it takes practice. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. And the easiest way to make people like you and want to work with you is talk about them. Don't always talk about yourself. And how many people have read the book How to Win Friends and Influence People? Yeah, I see a bunch of yeses. Okay, excellent. Okay. Yeah, somebody says that that they just downloaded it but haven't read it yet. Okay. Well, honestly, this book has literally changed the way I talk to people, which it's, you know, there's a lot of books out there about, you know, networking and this and that, and I've read quite a few of them, but How to Win Friends and Influence People, in my opinion, is the best book out there. And when people are introducing themselves in a meetup, what I always do is I write down their names. So a lot of meetups, they have that introduction where they go around the room and, you know, hi, my name is Ty, and I live in, you know, so-and-so state, and I'm an SEO consultant, and blah, blah, blah. So I write down the name, and then they go to the next person. Hi, my name's Tony, and I write that name down. Hi, my name is Roger. I write that name down, and I just, and I do that. And the reason why I do it is because at the end of the meeting, I'll walk up to them, or if there's a break, I'll walk up to them and I'll call them by their name. I'll go, hey, you know, how's it going, Ty? Or, you know, how's it going, Tony? Great to meet you. And that works really, really well, because especially they'll be even more amazed if you call them by their name and they have a difficult name. And it's amazing how well this works. And if you don't know how to pronounce their name, feel free to ask them, how do you pronounce your name again? And ask them to spell their name too. So that way you kind of get a feel for what their name is, right? So my other homework assignment for you, go to Google at the end of this and you know, type How to Win Friends and Influence People PDF. You don't have to buy the book. It's I believe it's a public access. So this is a URL that I found the PDF at. It's kind of a complicated one. It's probably just easier if you go to Google and type How to Win Friends and Influence People PDF. So work on your elevator pitch and download How to Win Friends and Influence People and read it, of course. And the thing with How to Win Friends and Influence People is you talk about them. And some of the things you want to talk about is, you know, ask them if they have kids. Ask them, you know, do they have any family? Do they have pets? What kind of business are they involved in? What do they do? How long have they been doing what they do? Where do they live? Things like that. There's a lot of topics that you could bring up. And I mean, especially if, you know, you have a hard time speaking with people, that's why this book is really, really important, because then you could come up with just random things. And like I said, it becomes easier and easier to talk to people because you kind of have a system laid out, right? You have a system laid out where you know where you're going to go next with this conversation. You're going to be like, so, you have any kids? Oh, that's great. You have 2 kids. Yeah, I don't have any kids, but I have, you know, a dog. So what kind of business are you involved in? Oh, that's great. And the conversation just kind of goes like that. So, and did I mention to talk to them? When they ask about what you do, you give them the elevator pitch. And you try to talk about them as much as you can and show interest in what they do. Don't just kind of, you know, not look them in the face, yeah, and looking over their head to see if there's someone more important that you should be talking to. I'm sure if you've been to any type of meeting, networking events, that you've ran into people like that, where they shake your hand and they're looking over your head to make sure, is there someone really important that I should be talking to? And if that happens, just move on. You know what I mean? It's not worth it. So show interest in what they do, and always try to find something in common with them. That's another important thing that I do. For example, it's just like, oh, you said you live in Fullerton. That's funny because I grew up in Yorba Linda and I went to high school in Fullerton. It's a small world, right? So you're kind of giving them that whole thing that you're relating to them. Okay, both of you have something in common now. Oh, you live in Manhattan Beach? That's funny because I was actually born in Torrance. I was born at I can't even remember the hospital now. Blue something hospital. They would know it, though, if they lived in Manhattan Beach. So you're finding that common ground with them. That's going to help a lot. And never pitch your services to them until they start showing interest in what you have to offer. And if they're not showing interest in what you have to offer, that's fine. Just continue having a conversation with them and, eventually move on. But don't be rude about it. And if they're interested to meet with you to talk about how they need SEO, for example, let's say they said, yeah, I have a website and I'm not getting traffic and I don't understand why. I'd love to meet up with you and, talk about SEO and see if maybe you can help me out. And I always follow with something, sure, I'll meet up with you if you buy me lunch tomorrow. Okay? That's the aha moment there. So I hope you're writing that down. I'll meet up with you if you buy me lunch. Because you're showing them that your time is valuable. And you're not just offering some sort of, you're going to hang out with them. And you're going to pay for your own lunch. Your time is valuable, and they will respect that, and they will buy you lunch. And I mean, if they say no, I'm not going to buy you lunch, then chances are they weren't planning on working with you anyway. So, like I said, this shows your time is valuable, and you don't offer ideas for free. And when you're meeting with that potential client, another aha moment. This one's big. This is probably the biggest thing that I'm going to go over in this entire meetup, in this entire presentation. Never meet them at their office. Okay? Femi said my voice is breaking up. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, I think I'm good now. Never meet at their office, okay? Because what happens when you meet at their office? People are constantly distracted. The secretary's coming in, the phone's ringing, this is happening, and plus it's one of those things where they are in control when you're in their office. Okay, you want to have neutral ground, right? Does that make sense? So if you meet them for lunch, the both of you are on neutral ground. Meet them at a restaurant, meet them at a coffee shop. And it's funny because I've closed some of the biggest clients this way. And it never dawned on me that this actually, that's the reason why I closed some of the biggest clients this way. I met one big client at a Starbucks and another one at a restaurant, and it seemed like it was one of those things where it seemed like all of the people that I was closing were people that I met to go out to eat. When I went to their office, it was a huge distraction and it took a long time to close, or I didn't close at all. And as a matter of fact, I had a client about a month ago that just signed up. It took us to meet with them 5 times, and every time we asked him to meet somewhere else, he was always way too busy. So if it's one of those things where they can't meet somewhere, it has to be at their office. And of course, don't tell them no, right? But try as hard as you can to meet them at the restaurant or meet them at the coffee shop or whatever. And when you meet with them, remember to continue asking them questions about their business, their personal life, things like that, because they're gonna feel that they relate to you and they can have a really good conversation with you. And it's so funny because, I mean, all they're doing really is they're doing all the talking. You're just the person listening in, right? So when it's time to offer a solution for their business, you'll already have a solid foundation on what needs to be done, because they talked about their business, they talked about their worst nightmares about their business and the problems they have on a daily basis, and how the secretary was fired because of this and that, and there's not enough people going to their website, so on and so forth. So that's what you do when you meet with potential clients. So let's talk about meeting or speaking at meetup events. And I know a lot of people are freaked out by this. Okay? How many people are afraid of public speaking? Yeah, I see a couple yeses. Yeah, definitely. Somebody said no. Nice. Well, I mean, I've been doing public speaking on and off for a few years now, and I mean, it scares the crap out of me. So, but I mean, I do it anyway, because the reason why is because I meet some great people that way, and I've found quite a few clients that way as well. So, of course, lots of people are horrified of public speaking, and I'm one of those people. And I get nervous before I speak at an event or on a webinar or whatever. And but the thing is, it gets easier and easier the more that you do it, like I said before. And where to speak? I mean, there's a ton of meetup groups that need speakers on specific subjects. And depending on the meetup, you usually don't have to really get into extreme detail on how to do something. Like, for example, I could put together a PowerPoint presentation and just talk about 15 SEO tips on how you can improve the rankings of your business's website. And these are like real simple steps. It's like, step 1, you want to do some keyword research and target, the keywords that are going to bring traffic. Step 2, you want to add a meta title and a meta description. This is what a meta title and meta description is. Step 3, you want to add good content to your website that people will read. And you want to be sure to add your keywords to these posts or pages or articles or whatever. Real basic stuff. You're going to be amazed, because the very first meetup I went to, it was funny. Like, I went and I was really nervous to go, and it wound up, it was one of those things where I knew more than about 90% of the people there. And it was like, wow. Because I was in my own little bubble doing affiliate marketing at the time. And I remember, like, I thought I wasn't really doing well in affiliate marketing because I was only making like $2,000 to $4,000 a month. And you read all this stuff on the Warrior Forum and JV Notify Pro and stuff like that about this marketing guru made $24,000 in 1 hour, and you read these things and it makes your what you've been doing, it makes it look so small. But when you talk to people face to face at meetups or networking events, you realize, what? I'm doing pretty damn good. And then they ask, wow, how did you make $100 in a month? The majority of people aren't making money on the internet. So it's one of those things, when you go to meetups, you're actually going to know a lot more than the majority of the people. Okay? And when you're speaking, add things in your speech. This is what I always do. I always go, this is a service that I charge clients about $2,500 per month, and I'm going to show you how to do it yourself right now. Okay? I always add that in there. And you know, if you feel comfortable, do a Q&A and get other people to approach you, because what I do in the beginning, I also say something like, I'm going to pack what should really take me at least 2 weeks into 30 minutes tonight. And I know this is an impossible task. So if you have any unanswered questions, feel free to come up and speak to me after my my speech, or you know, at the end of this this meetup. Okay? So you're giving them the opportunity to come up and speak to you after the meeting. And you know, always be sure to mention that you help clients improve their marketing on their website. And the way I do that is, sometimes I'll give examples. I'll say, I was working with this one customer and he wasn't receiving the traffic that he wanted. And it was funny because once I did some on-page SEO, all of a sudden his website popped in the top 10 of Google within a week. And he was just so amazed, and he was just, you know, he was calling me, thanking me, and all of a sudden he started getting traffic. And all I did was do some simple, basic on-page SEO. So you're talking about that you help clients, you help customers. So you want to plant the seed that they might be able to hire you for their problems as well. And never sell your services on stage, though, because if you start selling your services on stage, you're going to come off looking desperate. Okay? And you don't want that, of course. So you're going to make a lot more money being low-key as opposed to letting everyone know that you're for hire. Okay? I've actually seen this in a lot of meetups, a lot of other people. You know, I don't really, he's not here, so... But there's another SEO guy, I'm just making sure. There's another SEO guy that I constantly run into at meetup events, and he's always promoting. He's always like, well, you know, I'll give you the solution to your problem if you hire me. And it's always like really sad, and I just don't have the heart to tell him, you know, I know you're in the business of SEO, but you know, you need to be a little more low-key about you being, you know, up for, you know, looking for clients and stuff. And yeah, and there's other people, I'm sure you've ran into them too. You know, it's like you ask them a question, well, how do you do this and that and that? And they say, oh, well, it's kind of a insider secret that I can't really tell you about unless if you hire me. Oh God, I hate that one. That's the worst. Okay, just don't be afraid. Just go ahead and tell them, well, what you need to do. Have you done any on-page SEO to your website? No, I don't even know what on-page SEO is. Oh, okay, well, what you want to do is, you know, first off, go to Google and type on-page SEO and find some articles about it. And it's as simple as, you know, adding some keywords and adding links to other pages, internal linking, and you know, stuff like that. And I just give them a basic detail about, you know, how they could do their own on-page SEO, because chances are they don't want to do their own on-page SEO anyway, right? Do you agree with me? So remember, you're not desperate for work, and when they approach you, start asking them questions about their business, right? How to win friends and influence people. You want to give them your best ideas on how to achieve what they need. And what that does is that, honestly, it builds their confidence in you. They're like, wow, this guy really knows his stuff, and he's really spilling the goods on what I need to do to improve my business. Okay? So let's talk more about public speaking. it's one of those things, web developers may not know the first thing about lead captures or email marketing. They know a ton of great stuff on how to add a flash or whatever. I don't really know a whole lot about building websites, but I use WordPress, so it's real basic and easy to do. But web developers, they may not know the first thing about using Aweber or lead captures or anything like that. And if you spend some time speaking at meetings as opposed to attending them, you're going to get a lot of clients quickly. You're going to build a lot of confidence. People are going to start believing in you. And it's something about being up on on stage or a pedestal or whatever and giving people tips. That's just how it goes. And places are always in need of speakers, and many people are always excited to learn how to make money online. So it's not like you're going to have an audience that's really bored to death. So does speaking make you nervous? I know it makes me nervous, but if you go to Meetup, there's Toastmaster organizations that will show you how to work with your public speaking. And I know I still need a lot of help with public speaking, which I need to go to more of these Toastmasters. And what it is simply they give you tips on how to speak to a crowd. Okay, look them, in the face. Don't stare at them. Don't fiddle around with your pen. Make sure you have more confidence in your voice, and make sure that you're really given the goods, so to speak. So another great way is starting your own meetup. This is the cream of the crop right here. Starting your own meetup is the best way to go. And it was one of those things, once I felt comfortable starting my own meetup, I began to bring in a good amount of clients. And it's one of those things, I have a meetup group, but I don't speak at every meetup event, okay? I could, but I'd rather not. Because I like to have different opinions and different subjects that I'm not really good at. And so you want to ask special guests to come in and speak for you. And the thing is, it's real simple. You find people at other meetups that really know their stuff, and you ask them, hey, I have a meetup group. I'd love for you to talk about creating WSOs or whatever, because I have a meetup group in Los Angeles, and it's the Los Angeles Warrior Forum meetup. So we cover other things besides search engine optimization and things like that. We cover things like how to create WSOs and how to get a lot of buzz on WSOs and this and that. And I have guest speakers come and speak about it. People who have a lot more experience doing WSOs. I've done quite a bit. I think I've done about 18, 19 WSOs. So it's but there's people that really know the subject big time, okay? And sure, I could speak about, doing WSOs and getting WSOs of the day and things like that. It's one of those things, I'm not going to talk about Facebook marketing because I don't really use a lot of, I use Facebook to talk with my mom and, do some networking, but, but I wouldn't really feel comfortable talking about Facebook at a meetup group. So how much does it cost to start a meetup? It's $19 a month, and Meetup will send an email to help you get people to sign up for your meetup. So it's as simple as you set it up, and Meetup will send out an email to thousands of people in your neighborhood, or hundreds, depending on how many people are in your neighborhood. And it will say, hey, the new Los Angeles SEO meetup is about to have their first event on January 12th, 2013. And so you start seeing people, they start coming in and they start joining your groups. Okay? It's as simple as that. So the promotion thing, Meetup handles all of that. And how to find a location, the first meetup I did, I actually set a date and time to meet up at a local coffee shop. It was a Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf. And what I did, there was no subject, there was no agenda. It was just, let's meet up, let's have coffee, and let's talk about what sort of business we're all involved in. And this meeting actually helped me find a place for our next meetup. That was the subject. I asked people, okay, I said, we don't have an agenda, we don't have anything. I just got people together so we could hang out and get to know people. But that's, does anyone have a place where we could have our next meetup at? And I had about a dozen people who had a place to meet. So I took down all that information and started using the best places. So ask around, ask people who attend the meetup if they know a location. And if you're having problems finding a location, just pick a restaurant, a coffee shop, and call them. It's as simple as that. You just tell them, look, I have a meetup. I usually have between 20 to 30 people that come to my meetup, and I need a place. I was wondering if you have like a room in the back that we could like reserve or anything like that. We're going to have a presentation. We're going to have a speaker. And you just tell them what you need. They're either going to say yes or no. Some people have turned me down. Some people just told me simply, you're calling way too late because there's already another meetup that has it booked all week or something like that. So, and another great thing is check out virtual offices in your area. Now, for Los Angeles, a virtual office is pretty expensive, so I kind of scratched that one out. But those virtual offices are awesome. I've been to quite a few of them, and yeah, it's a great place because it has the office vibe. It has some meeting rooms, and you can have presentations, you have a screen, and all that good stuff. It's great. So what you want to do, just go to Google and type virtual office in your city. So virtual office Los Angeles, hit search, and you're going to find a bunch of them. And see how much it's going to cost to rent a conference room for one evening once a month. So everything I was seeing was like about $150, $200. I actually found a restaurant down the street from me that has a room, and it doesn't cost anything. And the only thing they ask is, if you're going to eat, be sure to order food from us and don't bring food in. That's pretty much it. So it's funny too because I had a meetup at a restaurant, and the average plate was around $10 and stuff, and it actually got a lot of people uninterested in the meetup. They were like, "What? $10? That's a lot of money." So it's one of those things you can never make everyone happy, and the attendance rate was actually really low because people were so bummed out on spending $10 on really good food, which I don't understand myself, but that's just the way it is. So kind of consider that too. The place I have it at is oh crap, I can't remember the name of the place right now, but it's kind of like a Panda Express type of place. Oh man, what is it? It's like a Panera bread. It's Panera bread. And so, they have sandwiches and things like that. So, and there's really no like stress of, people having to order, at least at the place I'm at. But the majority of people order anyway. So, but, at a restaurant, then they feel like they have to order food. Does that make sense? So getting speakers to your meetup, you'll meet other experts at meetups and ask them to speak at your meetings. And if you can't find an expert, you're going to have to be the speaker, my friend. All right? Offer your SEO presentation, offer, social media presentation, whatever. And what I did one time, I took notes on a really good webinar that I was at, and I actually took notes and I created my own presentation, and I gave it as one of the subjects for my meetup. And it was a really great subject that James Jones did on one of his webinars. So I took a lot of really good notes, and then I just created it into a presentation. Now, I'm not stealing anything. He offered it as a webinar presentation, okay? And it wasn't like I took one of his products and gave it away for free in a presentation. So does it cost every meetup you create? You could create up to 3 meetups on one account, and you only have to pay one fee, and that's $19 a month. And remember, when you join, it's free, just to be a member and to go to other meetups. But if you have your own meetup, it's $19 a month. And you can have up to 3 meetups. I met a SEO guy. He had 6 meetup groups that he had together, and I don't even know how you would juggle 6 meetup groups, but he told me that it was responsible for about a good 90-something% of his customers. So just consider that. If you have one meetup group and you feel you have time to do other meetup groups, then go ahead and do so. So how you set up a meetup, you just click on Start a Meetup Group, and this is what it looks like. You put the group name, you put the headline, you put a description, what you want the members to be called, like knitters, hikers, moms, Chihuahua lovers, so on and so forth, right? And you could create a customized URL, so meetup.com, Los Angeles SEO, or whatever, and then you put your name and so on and so forth. And here's another great way to have a meetup group that has a lot of members. Because the thing is, some organizers may resign. And when these people resign, they need new organizers. And you're going to get an announcement from Meetup that says, if you belong to these groups, it says, hey, the organizer stepped down and we're looking for a new organizer for Los Angeles SEO. And of course, you step up to the plate and you take it over. And what that means is now you have everybody that's in that meetup group. Okay? Now you have a meetup group with, hundreds of people. Really great way to have a great meetup group quickly. Okay? Just find one that somebody has stepped down. So what you could do, go to Google, type in www.meetup.com, and find a replacement organizer. And you're going to get results on people on meetup groups that the organizer has stepped down. And you could take those over. So this is a really good way to get a meetup group with lots of people quickly. That's a big aha moment, by the way. In case if you didn't notice. So let's talk about Meetup in other countries. Of course, there's people that, they live maybe somewhere in, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a random country that nobody lives at. But, maybe there's not a lot of people there, and maybe there's no meetups in India or, wherever you're from. But the thing is, don't let this stop you, because you could start your own meetup group anyway. And you could go to the Warrior Forum. And have you been to that part in the Warrior Forum where it's called local meetings and mastermind groups and forum events? There's a lot of people. You could add a post there and it says, hey, I'm looking for people to meet up in India. Where do you live? And then you add the URL to your meetup group, and people are like, oh yeah, I'm just down the street from you. Yeah, let's meet up. All of a sudden you start meeting people, and you could create a meetup group that way by using the Warrior Forum. Okay? And maybe there's not a lot of internet marketers in your neighborhood, but that's okay, because now you're meeting other marketers, and you're meeting people, and you can start doing business with them. Okay? Whether or not they need your services or whatever, you never know. I mean, it could be one of those things where their brother or their cousin or something is starting a website and they need somebody to put it together or whatever. Right? This is going to help you find like-minded individuals in your country. And something about finding like-minded individuals and meeting with them and hanging out with them does wonders to your business. All of a sudden, it just opens this. I can't really explain it, but it's one of those things where you start vibing and you're excited about what you do, and they're excited that you're excited, and they're excited about what they do, and you start talking, and everyone's hanging out, and their friends involved in internet marketing, and you start meeting these groups of people, and you get advice from other people that have been doing internet marketing longer than you, and so on and so forth. You learn from them, and you're going to see your business pick up really, really fast. So, how to promote to other groups. Remember, I was talking about offering your services without having to go to an actual meetup. Because let's say maybe you have 2 broken legs, and you live out in the middle of nowhere, and you don't have a car. Okay. So what you do, if you cannot attend meetups, you can still get potential clients without ever having to meet in person. And how you do that is you contact a group organizer and you tell them that you want to help them by offering a presentation to their group. You tell them, I've been doing SEO consulting for a long time. I have a lot of knowledge about SEO, and I think your group would be perfect. And I think they'd be really interested in the SEO tips that I have in store for them. And the organizer is either going to ignore your email, or they're going to say no, or they're going to say yes. Okay? So instead of doing the presentation in person, you could do it on a webinar. And when people have a meetup group, if you're an organizer, you can email, you can send out a major email that goes out to everybody. So it's kind of like having an email list, and the organizer can send it out saying, look, my friend David James Ostiguy has this excellent presentation about SEO consulting, and he's doing it via webinar. Here's the link. Okay? So you could do it by doing webinars. So once you get their approval, you set it up. I use GoToMeetings or GoToWebinar, and you put together that PowerPoint presentation if you don't already have it together, and I record the webinar too, so that way I could also offer the replay to the people that weren't able to make it. Okay, so if you have a PC, you could pick up Camtasia, but Camtasia is a little expensive. I believe it's about $500. But I have a Mac too, and I use ScreenFlow, and I think ScreenFlow is like $100. And honestly, I like ScreenFlow better than Camtasia. I have both of them, and ScreenFlow is just so much easier to run. It's really, really awesome. And if you've never done a webinar before, what I do is I actually use 2 computers. Right now I'm running on 2 computers. I have my PC laptop and I have my Mac going. So I have my presentation on my Mac. I'm using the audio, the headset on my Mac, and I have the PC set up where I'm looking at your questions, and I'm kind of running the board, so to say. So it's really, really easy to do. It takes a bit of practice to do webinars and to get familiar with them and to feel comfortable with them. But the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And like I said, I use Mac to record the presentation. And if I was to only use like one computer on the webinar, the thing is, with the recording, like, you would see me answering questions and typing things and stuff like that. So also the thing is, GoToWebinar has something set up where you could record your webinars too, which I've never used GoToWebinar to record a webinar, because I always use ScreenFlow instead. So anyway, it's easier to run 2 computers. So how you do this, what you do is, after you set up the webinar, you just register as an attendee for your own webinar on a separate email address. And then so when the webinar is live, you just right click your name and you make yourself the organizer. So that way you have two organizers. So that way you're running on your PC, or I'm running on my PC and I'm running on my Mac. So does anybody have any questions? I know I covered a lot of crazy stuff, and I never really took any time to stop and go over any questions. And a lot of the questions I have is this webinar, is it being recorded? And yeah, it is recorded, and you will receive a replay of it. Yeah, Jared said he had to leave early. Oh, Wayne said that he missed the majority of it. Yeah, don't worry, Wayne. So, any questions? Let's see, Wayne has a question. Oh, cool. Thanks, Wayne. Wayne said great stuff, what I did catch. Cool. Yeah, I'll send you that webinar replay. Don't worry. Oh, cool. Thanks. VJ said great ideas. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I just, I love doing webinars, and I love giving, information and stuff, and I'm always trying to help people out. So, I hope a lot of these ideas you could, put to use and start applying to your own business to start generating potential leads. So, and it's one of those things, it just takes practice to talk to people. It takes practice to, give presentations. And it doesn't have to be as scary as, everyone has that like nightmare moment where they see themselves up on stage shaking and, freaking out and stuff. So, okay, so now remember, what was the homework assignment that I gave? Oh, yeah, Mike, perfect question. How long should the presentations be? It's entirely up to you. I mean, you don't want to do a presentation that's like way over like 2 hours or whatever, but you could do something as simple as like a half-hour presentation, because what I do is I actually I take questions as I give the presentation too, so that actually buys up about a good 10-15 minutes of time. So if I have like a 20-30 minute presentation, and people are asking questions and stuff like that, that's going to take about a good like 45 minutes or so. Okay, so, and if you have a short presentation, be sure to tell the organizer, and make sure that they have something that they could follow up with to fill in the time. Because with meetup groups, it doesn't have to be an hour exact. It doesn't have to be an hour and a half exact. If you give a presentation and your presentation's only 10 minutes long, just be sure to tell the organizer so they're prepared. Right? So, yeah, exactly. And like I said too, I take questions too. And the questions fill up a good amount of time, and some people, they like to chime in too. If you're comfortable with that, they may say, I've found with my experience using meetup.com that I went from step A to step B and wound up at step C. And then you tell them, oh, great, so that worked out for you. Yeah, that worked well. Great. So, any other questions? So what we covered tonight: how to sign up for meetup.com, that one's real easy. How to find meetup meetings to attend. How to set up your own meetup. How to find a location for your meetup. What sort of meetups should you create? How to find meetups to speak at. How to attract clients that will be breaking down your door to get your services, and how to attract clients without ever having to physically be at a meetup. Mike has a question. If a facility has access to the internet, do you ever demonstrate some of the info online, like the keyword tool? I usually don't, and the reason why, Mike, is because things could go wrong. Okay, so usually what I do is I'll actually take screenshots of the software and just put it in my presentation and go through a step-by-step thing showing, how it works. So I'll show them, you add the keyword and then you see this search button here, you click on search. And what I'm showing them is slides. So that way if anything was to go wrong and you can't pull up that keyword tool to show examples, at least, you have the slides. So if you want to do it live, definitely do it, but be sure to have a backup plan just in case if it doesn't work. And, I suggest having slides in your presentation. And then what you could do, you could just fast forward through the slides, if you showed them how to use a keyword tool. So any other questions? All right, we're looking good. So yeah, I just wanted to yeah, all the questions are answered. Excellent. Yeah, I just wanted to do a webinar and say hi to everyone and see how their holiday's going so far, and that's pretty much it. Just go over some of the ideas I have with a meetup and some of the success I've had. Oh, Mike has another question. Are meetups a combination of all ages, or do some people join groups of the same age? I've found all ages. Usually it's always between, like people between the ages of 20 to 40. But I've actually met people at meetups that are internet marketers that are in their late 70s, 80s, and stuff like that. And they're just amazing. Like it's amazing because they really have a solid foundation on internet marketing, and it blows me away every time. VJ, would you suggest to do a survey at the end of the meetup or presentation? Yeah, you could definitely do that. If you want to get a feel for, how they felt about your survey, or what problems they have, what questions you weren't able to cover, what topics you should go over more. That would be a good way to go. Use something like SurveyMonkey. SurveyMonkey's free to use, and you could create pretty good looking surveys that you could email, and they could give you all of the advice. And I've actually used SurveyMonkeys. I've used surveys for my own meetup groups to see what topics they are the most interested in. Yeah, no problem. All right, thanks a lot. Is there any last minute questions before I head out? I think we're looking good here. All right, everybody, have a good night and have a good holiday.